Okay, folks, strap in, because this one's a doozy. Judge Lake announces the case of Fuller vs. Nelson. Mr. Fuller and his mother have come all the way to court to stake their claim that Mr. Fuller is the biological dad of Ms. Nelson's adorable 2-year-old daughter, Milani. They're totally convinced Ms. Nelson previously gave the thumbs up on Mr. Fuller's paternity and even let a father-daughter bond blossom. I mean, talk about family drama.
Mr. Fuller, you and your mother are here today to prove that you fathered the defendant's 2-year-old daughter, Milani. You say Ms. Nelson led you to believe that you were her daddy and build a strong relationship, but now wants to rip her away from you.
Yes, Mom.
And here's where it gets spicy. Ms. Nelson is like, sure, he knows my kid, but she drops the bomb that he's definitely not the dad. She's even talking about cutting all ties if the court backs her up. This moment just cranks up the emotional volume for the episode, laying out the serious stakes for everyone involved. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is just leaving the station.
You are now certain that he is not your child's father and will prove it in court. So, Ms. Nelson, what are your intentions today if the DNA results prove you're correct?
They will never see my daughter again, and their time just has expired with my child.
Wow. That's kind of harsh, considering they have a relationship with her, isn't it?
Hold up, what's this now? Mr. Fuller dives into his tale about the bond he's got with Milani, talking about how Ms. Nelson let the kiddo crash at his place overnight. That's big, right? Shows a heap of trust and relationship-building mojo between Mr. Fuller and the little tyke at that time. You'll want to stick around to see how this plays out.
I got a bond with Milani. She'll bring her hair to me. She'll let her stay the night and everything for about 3 months.
Not 3 months. I'm positive.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Have you allowed Milani to spend the night with
I
him?
have allowed her to spend the night with me.
We have this baby 2 to 3 months.
You guys had her for
whenever
a few
she
weeks.
need us
No, we
to
don't.
leave.
You had her
I
for a
went-
few weeks.
Day one, when
Child.
this girl called me, I said, "Oh, I'm a grandmother." I said,
I never
Miss
called you.
Nelson,
I never even had
I
the number
promise
to
to
get
God,
in
I
contact
would
with
tell
you.
you.
Get this, Ms. Nelson had to slide into Mr. Fuller's Facebook DMs to drop the news about the pregnancy after he ghosted her calls. Ouch, right? This whole not talking directly thing just throws another wrench into the gears of this paternity puzzle. Keep your eyes peeled, because the twists are just getting started.
Say you never called his mother.
She called
Never
my
called his
phone.
mother. I didn't
wouldn't
even have
tell
his
you no
mother's
lie, you
number.
want- She called my phone and said she was pregnant. When she had to go to appointments, she called and let us know too.
What?
We accept that baby from day one. From day one. Anything that you ask us to do for this
always
baby,
here
we've been
for
there
this
for
baby.
this baby.
You guys have
Always.
been there as far as now with my
Always.
financial situation.
Come on.
Plot twist, when Milani was born, Ms. Nelson decided to keep it on the down low and didn't tell the Fullers. That's a pretty bold move, signaling the start of her backing away from them in terms of the little one's life. Watch how this bombshell affects the courtroom vibes.
Do you inform them? Do they come to the hospital?
I did not inform them at all. My mother, behind my back, called them.
Once she called them, did they come to see the baby?
No, they did not.
How did they ever form a relationship with the child?
My baby was about 5 or 6 months old. I was at work. I was with someone, in a relationship with someone.
So now at 5 months old, you're in a new relationship.
No, I was in a relationship before him.
Didn't see that coming. Mr. Fuller whips out some text messages he thinks prove he's the dad. We're talking cutesy nicknames and chit-chats about the child. He's pretty convinced, and honestly, it's making me convinced too. But hold on to your hats. The next testimony is a real eyebrow raiser.
These are text messages.
Yeah.
So from Miss Nelson, I see a message that says, "We made a beautiful little angel. I love you, Milani." Then Mr. Fuller says, "I know, BM, baby. Our baby, very beautiful. Thank you." That must be thank you,
Yeah.
BM, for Milani. Devontae Fuller sends a message, "Beautiful, BM." And then Miss Nelson sends, "Thanks."
Here's where it gets even juicier. Ms. Johnson, Ms. Nelson's mom, hits the stand and she's Team Fuller all the way. She thinks her daughter's mixed feelings about Mr. Fuller's daddy status are tangled up in some other dude drama. The plot thickens. You won't want to miss what's coming up. It's a jaw dropper.
Upstairs and have a seat next to the judge.
Ms. Johnson, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Do you believe Mr. Fuller is Milani's biological father?
Yes.
Why do you believe your daughter cannot even believe it's a possibility that he's her biological father?
The other guy.
The other guy.
Whoa, curveball. Ms. Nelson throws out there that she never wanted Mr. Fuller in the picture from the get-go. We're peeling back layers of personal conflict and regret over the connections that got too deep too fast. The courtroom's about to get hit with some real talk.
All of this emotion and attachment is almost by default.
And she's acting like I
Because I don't understand how you so angry with
You
two people that
never-
love
you
your
never
child so
come out
much.
of that.
They have
You
so
never
been
said that.
So even in my chambers, I mean, because I had to prepare for y'all. I didn't know it. I did not know storm was coming like this, but I knew this was going to be a very interesting case.
The tension is electric as Judge Lake is about to drop the DNA bombshell.
Mr. Fuller, you are not her father.
I knew it. I knew who I slept with. I knew it. I knew it.
Take this baby from us.
Judge Lake kicks off the dramatic showdown involving Mr. Rash, who is desperately seeking paternity results for his 2 kiddos amidst suspicions that his wife, Ms. Fuentes, has been playing musical beds. Mr. Rash spills the tea about his wife's escapades, including ditching him for another fella and having a slumber party with not 1, but 5 brothers from the same clan. And hold your horses, because this roller coaster is just Ms. Fuentes steps up and owns her colorful past, dragging another potential daddy, Mr. Judd, into the courtroom drama, who's awkwardly chilling outside. She admits to her infidelities, but plays the tough childhood card, explaining she's been upfront with Mr. Rash about her wild days from the get-go. And folks, buckle up because it's about to get bumpier. Things are about to get even spicier. Enter Mr. Judd, the man Ms. Fuentes claims could also be the father of her child. He confirms their fling, but seems unsure about his role in the baby-making equation, hinting that the family soap opera might be messing with his head. The plot thickens, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for the juicy bits. Just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Mrs. Judd steps into the fray, shedding some light on her perspective of Ms. Fuentes as practically family, despite the bedroom bingo with her sons. She suggests that embarrassment and family dynamics might be swaying Mr. Judd's paternal doubts. And folks, the tea is piping hot and about to be spilled.
So the fact that she did sleep with his brothers, he's afraid what they're gonna think.
Drum roll, please. The moment of truth arrives as Judge Lake whips out the DNA results.
When it comes to 2-year-old Gabriella, Mr. Judd, you are the father.
Oh my God.
Judge Lake is setting the stage, laying out the stakes as Mr. Moses gears up to prove he's the dad of adorable 1-year-old Lamaya, despite Ms. Lytle's shake-your-head denials. Mr. Moses is not just here for a cameo, he's all in, fighting for custody and showing off his fatherhood badge with pride. The drama meter is just getting cranked up.
Mr. Moses, you've summoned Ms. Lytle to court to prove that you fathered her 1-year-old daughter, Lamaya. And you say Ms. Lytle denies that you're the father because you want to fight for custody. Ms. Lytle, you claim you want this paternity dispute to be over just like your relationship, and hope once the DNA results are revealed, you won't ever have to see Mr. Moses again.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Get this, Mr. Moses went full commitment mode, signing the birth certificate because he truly believed Lamaya was his. But plot twist, Ms. Lytle later tossed in a curveball with claims of another potential dad. Oh, and Mr. Moses, he didn't just show up, he named the baby. Talk about being emotionally invested right from the get-go. Buckle up, because this ride's about to get bumpier.
I signed the birth certificate.
Let me see that birth certificate. So wait a minute, Mr. Moses, you signed the birth certificate, you believe this is your baby?
Yes.
You Lameek, it's Lamaya.
Your Honor,
You all go together.
I named my child. She named after
You're on the
whole
birth
name.
certificate.
Yes.
Your Honor, I told him when I was
there
8 months
since day
pregnant
one.
that there was a possibility that he was not the
She
father.
say this all the time, Your Honor. And
Did anyone else's jaw just drop? Ms. Lytle just dropped a bombshell by admitting she had a fling with her ex around the baby-making time. This revelation adds layers of soap opera-worthy complexity to the paternity puzzle, spinning a web of personal histories and murky fatherhood claims. It's like a daytime TV cliffhanger, but you don't have to wait for the commercials to end to see what happens next.
time, Your Honor. She was dating her
ex.
ex-boyfriend. They've been sexing for however long.
No,
Never
we don't-
got pregnant. Soon as she come dealing with me, she's pregnant. A month, 2 months later. How is not my baby?
How do you know it's your baby if she's been dealing with this guy the whole time, even when she was with you?
No,
she wasn't.
I only dealt with him one time when I was with him around the time that I got pregnant, Your Honor.
Talk about being there when it counts. Let's rewind to the hospital scene where Mr. Moses was more than just a supportive figure. He was hands-on during Lamia's entry into the world and stuck around for those oh-so-important first days. His commitment shines like a beacon through the fog of this paternity dispute. Stay tuned, because there's more heart-tugging drama just around the corner.
Who stayed there all 3 days in the hospital?
You did.
Me.
But
Who the baby came home with the first day she came home?
And she came home with you, but still.
What part I'm not
you
there
know,
for?
you
My
know.
daughter look right there, the birth.
And Mr. Moses, I can see this makes you emotional when you talk about it, because you love this baby.
I do. That's my daughter. Until these results say otherwise, that's my daughter.
And you say you were led to believe she's yours. That's what you were told.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just beautiful.
That's my baby. Yeah, that's my
Oh,
baby.
she's so cute.
Oh, the emotional roller coaster. Just when you think Mr. Moses might catch a break, Ms. Lytle throws another wrench into the works, flipping her paternity stance whenever the wind and their relationship changes. It's more than just a paternity test. It's a test of patience and persistence. What's coming up? Even more twists that you'll need to see to believe.
I told you that before. I had the baby though, so you have to
Let him finish a sentence.
But she tells me this off and on. If you're gonna tell me something, you stick to it. You know what I mean? Don't be on the fence. You know what I mean? Oh, we on good terms now. Come get your daughter. Come. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't like you now. No, can't get her. Stick to one side.
And in comes Mr. Green, the other contender in the Who's Your Daddy saga, summoned to the stage by Judge Lake. His testimony could turn the tables, or just add more seasoning to this already spicy story. It's like the final episode of your favorite series, where everything could change in a moment. Grab your popcorn, because this is about to get epic.
I get it now. Your ex, Mr. Green, is here. I'd like to hear from him. Ron, will you please escort Mr. Green in?
Yes, ma'am.
So let me make sure I have an understanding of this. She came and told you, I'm pregnant. Well, you all been dealing with each other. She says you're her ex. But once she told you that, she also admitted openly Mr. Moses also was a potential father. And then she added, but he's stepping up to the plate.
He stepped up.
And boom goes the dynamite. DNA results are in, and Mr. Green takes the fatherhood trophy home. This isn't just a paternity reveal, it's a plot twist that could spin off into its own series. Poor Mr. Moses, whose fatherly dreams just took a nosedive. But don't go anywhere yet. There's an emotional epilogue you won't want to miss as we see how everyone picks up the pieces.
It has been determined by this court. The biological father is Mr. Green. You are the father.
Can you believe this twist? Mr. Thompson spills the beans on his growing doubts about the paternity of his 4-month-old son, Micah. He's tangled up in worries about his wife's faithfulness and is really hoping Micah is his kiddo. But man, the doubt is real. So here he is, throwing down his heartache in court. Brace yourself, because this drama is just heating up.
Your wife has a newborn, 4-month-old Micah Pate Thompson, who you hope is your baby, but say your doubts are overwhelming. Mrs. Pate Thompson, you hope and pray the results reveal that your husband is Micah's father for the sake of your family and your marriage. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Thompson, tell us about the current status of your relationship.
Seriously, talk about a plot twist. Mr. Thompson lays out the cold, hard truth about the nosedive his marriage has taken. They're rocking separate bedrooms, and the love life is on a serious hiatus. This emotional frostiness and the whole no-cuddle situation are feeding his paternity paranoia big time. And guess what? It only gets more tangled from here.
We don't sleep in the same bedroom. We haven't slept in the same bedroom in years. We haven't had sex probably in about 7-8 months, you know, and it's just, you know, she don't like to cook, she don't like to clean, she don't like to work. It's a lot going on other than Micah. So it's, you know, like I said, every marriage is not perfect, but it's just...
Wow, did you feel that? In a super raw moment, Mr. Thompson lays it all out there, confessing his deepest hope that Micah is truly his son despite the roller coaster his marriage is riding. The fear of playing dad to someone else's kid is gnawing at him, yet he's all in for this little guy, no matter what the DNA carnival reveals. Stick around. The emotional roller coaster takes another dive soon.
You want this baby to be your biological child, but you truly doubt.
I would love for him to be my son. You know, if he wasn't mine, I don't know if I could raise another man's child, but with everything going on and the connection that me and Micah has together, I can't let another child, especially another black child, grow up without a father.
Oh, the good old days. The couple takes a trip down memory lane, back to when sparks flew and love was in the air. They reminisce about how it all started with that zing of chemistry, contrasting sharply with their current gloomy days. This bittersweet flashback really sets the stage for the mess they're in now. Don't flip the channel yet. The story's about to thicken.
At some point, you all were happy together.
Yes, we met in college. We had a class together. And he sat behind me, cracking jokes, trying to copy off my tests. Next thing you know, we were talking and we were together in a relationship. And it was good. We were inseparable. You couldn't see him without seeing me.
Did anyone catch the details on their wild wedding? They share the scoop on their offbeat, hurry-up wedding bash, painting a picture of a marriage kicked off on a quirky, somewhat chaotic note. This backstory really sheds light on the struggles shaking up their union today. Hold on tight, because there's more chaos to come.
Yeah, it wasn't the most ideal situation, but we made the best out of what we...
But absolutely, and that's what it's all about when you're coming together to build a life.
Right.
So where did this go wrong?
What went wrong was when me and LaToya first started getting into marriage and stuff like that, I had found out she was doing some things that she shouldn't have been doing. Text messaging, meeting up with guys and stuff like that.
Here's where it gets spicy. The courtroom dives into the messy saga of cheating and distrust that's been the season's highlight. Mrs. Thompson drops a bombshell about her not-so-professional trip to Atlanta, tying directly back to the whole who's the daddy drama with young Micah. You'll want to to see what happens next as the plot thickens even more.
At what point did you find out she was with someone else?
When I came back, we was under understanding that I was gonna come back and we was gonna work on our marriage. She told me that she was going to Atlanta for a job interview. I said, what job interview you going to? And she named a couple jobs off and I said, okay. Me being me in that conversation, when me and her got done talking, I got on the phone with my mother and I was like, she not going to no Atlanta for no job interview. She going to Atlanta to do what she was gonna do. I was like, if we gonna start over, I'm gonna be a man about the situation because I was just with somebody. I'm gonna let her go ahead and get it out of her system.
Things are heating up. Amid fiery talks of trying to patch things up, Mr. Thompson throws a curveball with news of his engagement to another woman. Yep, while he's still married. Talk about complicated. The saga deepens, laying bare the serious cracks in their relationship. And just when you think it can't get any more dramatic, it does.
I'm still married. That's what he told me.
Yeah, I mean, I still gonna say it, but I did.
Mr. Thompson, obviously you needed more than 15 minutes of marriage counseling, so you understand that you can't ask somebody else to marry you when you're still married.
It was a lot going on in between
Oh,
that
this
time.
is a lot. The point when you found out you were pregnant with Micah, who did you tell?
The first person I told was the other guy.
You did?
Yes. The timeline and the way the conception and everything, I was thinking it was the other guy.
No one saw this coming. The climax hits as the DNA test results are finally unveiled in court.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Thompson, you are not the father.
The court session kicks off as the judge tells everyone to take a seat and gets the ball rolling with the case of Dallas versus Stewart. In a little chit-chat exchange, the judge and the court clerk Jerome share a quick hello before diving into the legal drama. Grab your popcorn because this is going to be good.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Dallas versus Stewart.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar.
Straight out of a soap opera. Right. Miss Dallas steps up with a bombshell, accusing Mr. Stewart of denying he's the father of her 1-month-old son, Lamar, and she's visibly upset over his denials given his shady double life. The judge meticulously confirms the spicy details of this paternity pickle, setting the stage for an unforgettable courtroom showdown. Hang tight, it's about to get juicier.
Say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad, especially since you discovered he's the one being a double life. Mr. Stewart, you claim that it's Ms. Dallas who's been far from faithful, and you believe that baby Lamar's dad, any one of multiple men.
Here's where it gets a little awkward. Mr. Stewart attempts to downplay his initial fib about being single, claiming the topic of his marital status just didn't come up early on. The judge isn't buying what he's selling and calls him out on his duty to disclose he was still on the market. Well, sort of. Buckle up, because the ride's getting bumpier.
You know, it didn't come up. You know, I felt like it didn't come up. Like,
how did it not come up?
It didn't.
That's relevant information, is it not?
Yeah, true that. Yes, Your Honor.
So wait, you were basically out acting like a single man?
I wouldn't act, yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
I'm glad you just went on ahead and told the truth. You were out there acting like a single man, but you were married.
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you getting a divorce then?
In my head, yeah, I was getting a divorce.
In your head. That means you were still married?
Yes.
Did anyone see that twist coming? As they unpack more of Mr. Stewart's marital mess, we learn that Ms. Dallas ended up pregnant amidst the confusion about where their relationship stood. They both had wildly different takes on the seriousness of their fling, which only adds more fuel to this fiery court drama. Don't go anywhere. The revelations are just getting started.
How long have you been married?
10 years.
So you found out about this baby and you were happy, but you didn't have doubt at that time. If you were happy.
No. He started beginning doubt. So-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived.
Someone that knew you?
Yeah.
They start giving you information?
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him sleeping around with somebody else. So why wouldn't she say that she want to sleep with you?
Enter the wife, and yes, it's as complicated as it sounds. Ms. Stewart strides into the courtroom, ready to set the record straight, claiming that her hubby met Ms. Dallas online, which hints that Mr. Stewart might have been shopping around, even if just for a little side fun. The story takes a tangled turn here, so keep watching because you won't believe what's next.
Please escort Ms. Stewart into the courtroom. Good morning, Ms. Stewart. Thank you for joining us today.
Very troubling, and it was not true.
What part of the testimony disagreed?
How they met. Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
exactly
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but relations.
Talk about a tangled web. Amidst a stormy debate with all parties throwing in their 2 cents, Mr. Stewart awkwardly admits he's currently with Ms. Dallas, despite not having untied the knot with Ms. Stewart. It's a love triangle that not even a soap opera could dream up. And just when you think it can't get any wilder, it absolutely does.
So you and Ms. Dallas are together?
Yeah, we live together.
You live together? Well, what's that?
You know what I mean?
We live together, but
we
he go
moved
back and
in
forth.
together, but we go back and forth. Like she done moved out, came
2
back.
days.
You know what I mean? And
Are you all divorced or still married?
legally, we're still married.
Ms. Stewart, what do you want? Do you want this marriage to work? Are you...
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself.
Moment of truth, everyone. The judge delivers the DNA test results, and boom.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you. He's in a lie at all.
The courtroom drama unfolds with a surprising twist. Ms. Garnett and her mother, Ms. Miller, make a bold entrance with their case. They firmly claim that Mr. Langston, the defendant, is Ms. Garnett's biological father. Ms. Garnett expresses her disbelief and frustration over Mr. Langston's doubt about his paternity, arguing that it's pretty ridiculous given their history. The drama's just getting started, and it's already popcorn-worthy.
Hello.
This is a case of Garnett versus Langston.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Garnett, you and your mother, Ms. Miller, have opened your case to prove to the defendant that he is your biological father. You are baffled because you consider him a daddy and a best friend and state his doubt is unwarranted and demand an apology once the results are revealed.
Tension crackles in the air like a pre-thunderstorm. The judge acknowledges Ms. Garnett's passionate claim with a nod. Ms. Garnett insists that Mr. Langston is her father and demands an apology from him once the DNA results are revealed. Mr. Langston counters with a dramatic flair, stating he has always known he isn't her biological father and feels he deserves an apology instead. Things are heating up, and you won't believe what happens next.
Mr. Langston, you claim you have always known you weren't Ms. Garnett's biological father and feel after the results are revealed, you are the one who deserves apology. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, how did this all start?
You could cut the tension with a knife or maybe a gavel. The origins of the dispute are traced back to a mysterious text message. Ms. Garnett explains that a recent text from Mr. Langston reopened old wounds and brought up past uncertainties about his paternity, prompting her to seek legal resolution. This text message turns into a central piece of melodrama in the case. Buckle up, because the details are juicier than a ripe peach.
That wasn't the very beginning, but this is why we're here. Text message brought us here, and this is the evidence that I brought in today.
Oh, okay.
Can I give it to you?
Please, Jerome. So this started with a text.
So after almost 2 years of reaching out to my father after visiting him in 2015, pleading to get him to respond, he wasn't responding.
Here's where it gets even spicier. Mr. Langston takes the floor, his voice heavy with emotion, discussing his estrangement and his reasons for doubting his paternity. He recounts personal anecdotes and past suspicions that have troubled him over the years, painting a picture of a novella-level complicated relationship. The plot thickens, and you'll want to hear this next part.
So why were you estranged for 2 years? What happened?
We live in different states, Your Honor, but we had always been close. I went to visit him in Chicago for a funeral, and everything was great. But when I returned back home, I don't know what happened. He just cut off communication.
Well, I wasn't talking to her like I normally do.
Why?
Because I was just harboring this gut feeling that I had read from the beginning that she's not my daughter.
Tears and heartfelt confessions make their entrance. Ms. Garnett shares her emotional connection with Mr. Langston. She describes their close relationship, which blossomed as she reached adulthood, and her utter shock when Mr. Langston first voiced doubts about being her father. The emotional roller coaster doesn't stop here. There's more heart-tugging ahead.
Ms. Garnett, you grew up as a daddy's girl. You say he's your best friend.
He's always been my dad. I've always known him to be my dad. When I became an adult, around 21 years old, that's when we started really becoming. Years ago, when I was at the funeral with him, he had brought up for the very first time that he thought I may not have been his daughter, which blew my mind. After he vomited all this tragedy on me, he recanted and took it back.
Money talks, but the drama shouts. The court hears about Mr. Langston's financial contributions. Despite his doubts, Mr. Langston reveals he paid child support for over 20 years, questioning why a DNA test wasn't conducted sooner. If you thought that was a bombshell, just wait for the fallout.
When the baby was born, did Mr. Langston participate in the birth?
Not at all.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No.
I paid child support, not only 18 years, I paid it 20 years.
But when
They
did you
started
start?
sending me checks back for overpayment, $1,700, $800, $1,000, $500.
$100,000, $1,500,000 and pay for a DNA test went out before I turned 36 years.
Grab your tissues. It's about to get emotional. Mr. Langston shares the turmoil he felt when sending the revealing text message to Ms. Garnett, emphasizing his deep care for her, despite the paternity doubts. His confession is as heartfelt as it is dramatic, setting the stage for an even more dramatic revelation.
Says you've had these doubts and you just felt like, I want to be able to look at this entire relationship with a clear lens.
I do. If I can't trust myself, how am I gonna trust you or anybody else? I might do something I never did before and I look and say, you did that? What? So how am gonna trust you if I can't trust me?
Jerome, I could not have explained it any better.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, or in this case, a possible paternity confirmation. The court examines a Facebook post by Ms. Garnett where she compares her photo with that of her grandfather, observing any familial resemblance, which many family members affirmed. The courtroom holds its breath as the DNA results loom closer, and trust me, you'll want to see how this turns out.
Amidst all of this confusion, you began to post on Facebook. You put this post up. Can you please step up to the plasma and tell the court why you posted this?
After the text message, I did some soul searching, just laying in my bed looking through my phone, and I saw a picture of myself, this picture, and it reminded me of this picture of my grandfather. This is Mr. Langston's father. And I noticed some similarities in our faces.
Hold on to your hats, folks. The DNA test results are revealed.
Mr. Langston, you are not the father.
Are not the father?
He is not her biological father.
Now don't look at me. Ask her who your daddy really is.
Court is now in session, folks. The case named Dixon Veers Hunt is announced, setting the stage for the drama about to unfold in this courtroom saga. Grab your popcorn because the show is just getting started.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Dixon versus Hunt.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Dixon, you are furious that your husband, Stephen, denies he fathered your daughter, Tanea. You believe because you cheated in the past, he is holding previous mistakes against you. You plan to prove paternity today.
Cue the tension music as Miss Dixon takes the stand. She admits to cheating in the past and asserts her intention to prove the paternity of her daughter, Tanaya, to her husband, Stephen. This is about to get as juicy as a daytime soap opera, so don't go anywhere.
Mr. Hunt, you state you caught your wife cheating on you and you are convinced you did not father 14-month-old Tanea. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your marriage.
Here comes Mr. Hunt, looking like he's ready to drop a bombshell. He expresses his doubts about being the father of Tanaya due to the infidelity, emphasizing the critical nature of the DNA results for the future of their marriage. Hold on tight, because this roller coaster is about to take a wild turn.
After prior infidelity was confirmed in their court.
Yes,
Take
Your
a
Honor.
look.
I need to know if she's cheating on me. I have concerns if my daughter is mine.
Ms. Dixon, what do you want to prove today?
I mean, I know I messed up in the past, but people change.
I have a direct line to Judge Lauren Lake, and this court is ordering you to appear before her to determine if Mr. Hunt is in fact the father of your 1-year-old daughter.
Drama alert in the courtroom. The court hears how Mr. Hunt caught his wife cheating in a car parked outside their home. This dramatic revelation shows the extent of the betrayal and its impact on their relationship. Just when you think you've seen it all, the next revelation will knock your socks off.
I'm gonna give you a chance to respond, but I want Mr. Hunt to finish the story about what happened in this car.
Yeah, so when I walk to the car, I hear the noises and I knock on the window and she blatantly give me the look like, and so what? You see what I'm doing?
So your wife was having sex with another man in a car out front of your house?
Yes.
Plot twist incoming. A couple of months after the infidelity, Miss Dixon discovers she's pregnant. She informs her husband, suspecting the conception timing aligns with when they were together. Strap in, folks. The twists and turns are just getting started.
How soon after that did you find out that you're pregnant?
A couple of months after that happened.
What happens? Who do you tell? Take me back to that day.
Okay,
Do you tell your
I
husband?
told my husband.
And
because the due dates from the time I conceived her to the time they said I was due, I didn't sleep with him. That was a one night, that was a one-time thing. Yeah, that's
You
true.
know that.
That's true.
You had sex with this guy one time out in front of the house.
Yeah.
Was it protected?
No.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, speculation arises that Mr. Hunt's brother might be the biological father of Tanaya, adding another layer of complexity to the case. This family tree is turning into a family bush. Stay tuned for what's next.
Your brother could be Tanea's biological father?
Possibility.
And you brought a witness.
Yes.
I'd like to hear from her. Please stand, ma'am. Ms. Cooper, you are what relation to the defendant?
I'm her aunt.
You are the plaintiff's aunt.
Oh, yes.
This is interesting.
To even insinuate something like that. She never said anything about him, about him cheating. I don't care though, he wasn't there though.
Oh, the drama. The court hears from Miss Cooper, the aunt, who suggests that Mr. Hunt's brother could potentially be the father, indicating a deep family involvement in the dispute. The suspense is building, and you won't believe who speaks up next.
What makes you think that's a possibility?
I mean, because she clearly cheated, and I mean, he's gone. What is if he's still there? When he's gone, why is he still there? I'm gonna take my brother with me.
Me cheating and then me sleeping sleeping with someone who's blood related to him, what characteristics have I shown you as you being my auntie that I'm that type of person?
It's getting hot in here. Katisha Dixon, the mother of Miss Dixon, confidently states that she believes Stephen is the father because of the resemblance between him and Tanaya, showing her support and belief in her daughter's story. Things are heating up, and the next moment is a real firecracker.
And I'd like to hear from her. Ma'am, please stand. Please state your name for the court.
Katisha Dixon.
And what is your relationship to Ms. Dixon?
Her mother.
Who do you think is Tanaya's biological father?
Stephen.
You do? Mm-hmm. And you believe that without a doubt?
Without a doubt.
Why?
She looked just like him.
And now, for a word from our not-so-regular scheduled programming. The brother's testimony. He clarifies his whereabouts during the crucial time and denies any sexual relationship with Miss Dixon, which brings some clarity, but also additional questions to the case. The suspense is unbearable, and the DNA results are just around the corner.
Jerome, can you please escort Mr. Hunt's brother into the courtroom? Thank you for joining us today. I have a few questions for you. There's been testimony thus far that indicated that you were staying at your brother's house while he was out of town. Were you staying there with Ms. Dixon?
Yes, ma'am.
Did your brother, Mr. Hunt, know you were there at the time?
No, ma'am.
You could hear a pin drop.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Chris Hunt, you are not father. Mr. Stephen Hunt, you are not the father.
Who is the daddy?
You are not the biological.
No.
Here we go. In the bustling courtroom of Johnson versus Johnson, Mr. Johnson is not convinced he's the father of baby De'Ari and is itching to scratch his name off the birth certificate. On the flip side, Mrs. Johnson is as sure as sunrise that he's the daddy. The judge is all ears, ready to decide if they should dive into a paternity test. Folks, fasten your seatbelts. This drama train is leaving the station.
Mr. Johnson, you are here with your wife, but you are positive her newborn daughter, De'Ari, is not your biological child. You have petitioned this court to grant you a paternity test so you can get your name removed from the birth certificate. Mrs. Johnson, you say that despite your husband's fears, you are confident he fathered your daughter and you intend to prove paternity.
As the plot thickens, Mrs. Johnson lays it all out, tearing up about the emotional whirlwind this paternity question has spun her family into. Imagine, a 10-day-old treated like an outsider in her own crib. Tears are shed and hearts are heavy as she spells out just how rough this ride is for her baby. The judge passes a tissue and offers a gentle word, recognizing the weight of this family drama. Hold tight, because just as you catch your breath, another curveball is about to be thrown.
I feel like my kids don't deserve this. My daughter don't. She's only 10 days old. Like, she shouldn't have to be the black sheep of the family.
I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right. And
I'm not trying to hurt anyone, but I'm just trying to protect myself.
Right, and in doing that, she feels you separating from the family. So we know that there is a lot on the line here, am I correct?
Now, catch this soap opera twist. After a year on the breakup bench, filled with betrayals, self-discoveries, and a bundle of misunderstandings, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson somehow find their way back to each other. And bam, a baby announcement lands right as they reunite. But the plot thickens with Mr. Johnson catching wind of a fling during their break. Brace yourselves. We're on a truth quest, and it's going to be a wild ride with twists and turns.
I just saw how my kids reacted to it, so that's what made me want to go back.
Because I
You
was
saw
like,
how
gone for
happy
a
your
little
children
while.
were to be with their dad and with you and this. Yes, I understand that. And so how soon after you reconnected did you find out she was pregnant?
Maybe about 2 weeks or something like that.
After the
she come back,
reconciliation.
yeah. And I was excited.
I was scared,
Because
because I know I had
believe-
sex with somebody else.
So he was excited and you were scared.
Yes.
Here's the clincher. As everyone leans in, the judge starts matching up the dots. When they got back together versus when De'Ari was conceived, it's tighter than a drum, and the suspense is mounting. Mr. Johnson's doubts are as high as a kite. Will a paternity test be the key to peace, or will it just crank up the drama even more? The courtroom is on pins and needles, waiting for the next drop on this roller coaster ride.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
That's great news. Absolutely.
All right, folks, let's dive into the soap opera that is the case of Hendricks versus Hendricks. Gather around as we kick things off in the courtroom. The air is thick with suspense and cordial greetings as everyone gears up for what promises to be a juicy session. Buckle up, it's showtime, and the introductions are just the appetizer.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is a case of Hendricks versus Hendricks.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Hendricks, you and your husband previously appeared in court because you suspected he was being unfaithful.
Yes, Your Honor. She was naked on the bed, and Chris was in there.
Oh, I'm perfectly aware of what's at stake.
There's the girls and then the baby. I mean...
Here we go. Mrs. Hendricks spills the tea about their last dramatic appearance in court, suspecting her hubby of a little side romance. Now she's back, with a baby bump in tow, stirring up the emotional pot with talk of their other kids and the latest bun in the oven. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just leaving the station.
You're expecting?
Yeah, I'm
Oh
6
my.
months.
Mr. Hendricks was asked, had he had sex with his ex? What was his response?
His response was no.
What did the lie detector determine?
That he was being truthful.
Mrs. Hendricks, the shoe is now on the other foot. Your husband is accusing you of cheating and says he is not the father of your 1-month-old baby, Chris Jr.
Hold on to your hats, people. We just got word that Mr. Hendricks was telling the truth all along. No hanky-panky with the ex. The crowd goes wild with applause. And let me tell you, the plot thickens as we switch gears to Mrs. Hendricks' side of the story. What's coming next? Oh, it's good.
Mr. Hendricks, you say you confirmed your wife has been unfaithful and there is no way her child yours. So you're also petitioning the court for a lie detector test to determine the extent of your wife cheating. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any spicier, Mr. Hendricks throws a curveball by accusing Mrs. Hendricks of cheating and questions if he's the real daddy of their 1-month-old Chris Jr. The courtroom's buzzing as they talk about bringing in the lie detector again. Fasten your seatbelts. It's about to get bumpy.
I'm very pissed off because he's your twin. I mean, he's his twin.
And you don't think he has any reason to deny the child?
No, I was very honest with him with what happened before, and he has taken it to the extent of denying our son, even though I've done everything he wanted me to do. Named him after him, circumcised him, did everything.
Mrs. Hendricks isn't having any of it, and boy does she let us know. She's downright mad about her husband's denial of their little one, emphasizing all she's done to keep the peace, including naming the kiddo after him. Emotional fireworks are flying, and there's more drama on the horizon. Get ready for the tears and cheers.
You wanted her to do even name the child after you. You don't believe the child is yours?
I don't feel that bond like I do with my other children.
I even named him after your dad.
He barely looks like me. I'm not seeing any characteristics. He don't have any of my personal features. I don't know.
You must
I'm
be
not
blind.
seeing it as well as the others.
Just when you think you've seen it all, Mrs. Hendricks drops a bombshell about battling cancer and sinking into a remission relief. The backstory of their rocky relationship unfolds, painting a picture of love, betrayal, and health scares. Grab your tissues. This tale has twists and turns that could rival a daytime Emmy show.
Take me back to the situation that's surrounding the paternity doubt relating to baby Christopher.
Last September, his Facebook messages were coming to my phone, and it was one of his coworkers, and she was saying very sexual things. About 10 days later, I had found out that I had endometrial cancer, and I had gotten real sick. And
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm in remission now. Thank
God, yes.
Now, here's a spicy tidbit. A family member calls Mrs. Hendricks out as a bold-faced liar right in the middle of a heated chat about supposed infidelity. The family drama is thicker than Thanksgiving gravy, folks. Keep watching, because just when you think you know what's next, the unexpected happens.
We had everybody over at our house drinking. We had started working out our issues. I came into the room, and they were already into a conversation.
Who are they? Who's they?
Carrie and her...
Miss Hendricks
yes,
and a family member.
And a family member.
Okay.
I was like, so what is it that you're supposed to tell me? And she says nothing. She looks at this family member, says, I put it on such and such's grave that nothing happened. And the family member looked at her and said, you're a bull-faced liar. You came to my house that very next night and said you did it.
Imagine the shock. Mrs. Hendricks finds out she's pregnant amidst this chaos, and the timing couldn't be more controversial. Mr. Hendricks is scratching his head, wondering if the stork got the wrong address, because after years of trying, this surprise has everyone guessing. Hold on to your hats. The explanation is a doozy.
Do you tell Mr. Hendricks immediately, I'm pregnant?
I was at I had actually went into the emergency room because I had an internal hernia. My surgeon had ordered a pregnancy test, all this, because if I had to go in for surgery. They came back and said, you do realize you're very early pregnant. My HCG level was only 22, just implanted.
Which is the reason why I started doubting it right off the bat.
Why?
Because we went through extensive fertility medicine to have our 4-year-old daughter. Tried for 5 years.
The plot thickens as the couple debates whether baby Chris Jr. has daddy's nose or just his attitude. They're parsing out facial features and a mysterious blood disorder that doesn't match the family line. The mystery deepens, and you won't believe the experts' take on this. Coming up next.
You start hanging out with another guy, and then all of a sudden you wind up pregnant. You don't find that funny at all.
Because I know what I was doing, and I know I was with you only.
Okay.
Well, but Miss Hendricks, I have to say, you just just testified that on that night in question, you didn't know what happened.
But I'm a very honest person, and I did call and tell him immediately.
You say, you know what? I'm too drunk. I just did something that I shouldn't have done. Let me call my husband. Let me call my family. Come get me because I know I'm a hot mess over here.
Enter the expert. Swinging the door open on all this blood-type hullabaloo, she breaks down the science behind why Mrs. Hendricks's antibodies might be giving baby Chris a hard time. It's a medical mystery worthy of a detective novel, and you better believe it's more tangled than last year's Christmas lights.
When he was born, he was not breathing for a minute and a half. Finds out he's got a blood disorder. Is crazy because it's fighting with her blood. But the more I got to thinking about it, none of my other kids have ever had this problem. Our 4-year-old daughter does not have this problem.
And so you're wondering if potentially this has something to do with the fact that the baby may have another biological father.
Correct.
But it's not a genetic disorder. My blood type is O positive, the baby's is A positive.
Drum roll, please. The big reveal is here, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hendricks, you are the father. I told you.
The courtroom kicks off with some order in the house as the judge calls everyone to take their seats, while Jerome lays down the day's agenda with the case of Alan versus Tolliver. Jerome, always on point, sets the stage for what promises to be a courtroom drama filled with twists and turns. Get ready, because this is just the beginning.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Allen versus Tolliver.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Allen, you claim the defendant got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 2-year-old daughter, Novella.
Things heat up quickly as Ms. Allen drops a bombshell, accusing Mr. Tolliver of neglecting their daughter, Novella, which she claims has led to severe financial and emotional distress. She's not holding back, laying out her case with the seriousness of a final season episode of your favorite legal drama. Watch as Mr. Tolliver tries to dodge these fiery accusations.
You claim today's DNA test that he is Novella's father and you need him to step up. Mr. Tolliver, you and your girlfriend say you are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father and have evidence to support your claim.
The plot thickens as Mr. Tolliver and his girlfriend stand firm, 100% convinced he isn't the father of little Novella, and they claim they've got the receipts to prove it. Their staunch defense adds a juicy layer to this paternity pickle. Buckle up, because the gloves are coming off.
Absolutely nothing, Honor.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Has he paid any child support at all?
No, Your Honor.
Involved in her life?
No, Your Honor.
Come to visit her?
No, Your Honor.
I have several reasons that I can prove that I'm not the father.
As the court dives deeper, Mr. Tolliver talks about trying to sort out the paternity mess with a DNA test, which Ms. Allen has seemingly been dodging like a pro. This part of the saga adds a dash of mystery to the mix. Why the avoidance, Ms. Allen? Hang tight, her reasoning is up next, and it's a doozy.
I tried to get her to do a DNA test. For instance, just the other day, she's not going to do the test.
Have you been avoiding the test, Ms. Allen?
No, I haven't not been avoiding the test.
Why haven't you taken it if he's volunteering?
He's the reason why. I honestly do not want to go take a test by myself with him.
Amid the legal jousting, Ms. Allen shares her side, explaining her reluctance to take the DNA test, particularly not alongside Mr. Tolliver. It's getting personal in here, folks, and you can cut the tension with a knife. What's next? Mr. Tolliver's take on their tangled past, and it's more twisted than a pretzel.
So your thing is the buck stops here until I figure out whether or not I am the father. You don't feel like you want to invest any time getting to know the child?
No, it's not that. I mean, she's told me that, over the text messages and phone calls that this is going to be Novella's father.
Wait. When did that come out?
This was when she was in the hospital.
The drama escalates as they rehash their rocky relationship and the ensuing paternity dispute. It's a he said, she said showdown with a child caught in the middle. Just when you think it's all been said, a new piece of evidence comes into play.
So you weren't there on this day, the day she delivered?
No, ma'am.
Were you invited?
How was I invited? Was she going to invite me and him? I mean, that makes no sense.
I told you that he did not have to be in the delivery room, that you could be in there. Yes, I did.
So wait a minute now, Miss, you admit that you had moved on and started dating this gentleman.
Yeah.
And you had invited him to the birth of Novella.
Yeah.
Was he with you during the pregnancy?
We got together when I was 3 months pregnant, and he was there the whole time.
A crucial moment unfolds as Ms. Allen admits she told Mr. Tolliver that her current boyfriend would be raising Novella, sparking a major misunderstanding about who's the daddy. This revelation throws another wrench into the already complicated narrative. Strap in, the twists keep coming.
The guy that she was seeing at the time with Novella, as in claiming as his daughter.
My girl's already learning, laugh out loud. Do you believe that this gentleman is potentially Novella's biological father, or do you feel like this is just someone she's using to get back at you?
I don't know, it just seems to me like that's a very good chance that he is the father.
When you got pregnant, were you dating anyone else at the time?
No. on.
Ms. Allen insists she has tried to get Mr. Tolliver involved in Novella's life despite his refusals and busy schedule. She's laying it all out there, trying to paint a picture of a one-sided effort. What will the judge make of all this? Stay tuned, because we're heading to a pivotal point.
Do you consistently
Yes,
press
I do.
and try to establish a relationship between Mr. Tolliver and Novella?
Yes, I have constantly tried to get a hold of him. I've even asked if he wanted to come see her, and it's always he's too busy.
But
You
I
don't have a way.
I don't have a driver's license. I can't just up and drive to Pelham, Georgia.
Mr. Tolliver, have you ever met Novella? She's
No,
2
ma'am.
now.
No, ma'am.
2 years.
I know, but I mean, if it was really mine.
The judge zeroes in on the severe allergies of Novella, which adds a whole new layer of urgency to the paternity confirmation. This isn't just about drama, it's about a little girl's health and future. The courtroom holds its breath as the DNA results are about to drop.
That Novella has severe allergies.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons why you desperately want to find Mr. Tolliver identified as her biological father. You need help.
She has allergy problems. I'm constantly going back and forth to the doctors with her. She's allergic to about anything you can be allergic to. Pine trees, oak trees, apples, rice, you name it, she's allergic to it.
There is no medical history of any kind of allergy problems in my family whatsoever, of anything.
With the courtroom on the edge of their seats, the DNA test results are finally ready to be revealed. This is the moment of truth everyone's been waiting for. Will Mr. Tolliver step up or step out? It's about to get real, folks.
Do you believe that when she says it, or do you think
No,
she's
because
just...
I've been going through this for 2 years. 2 years, every couple months.
I've
Every time
moved
she gets in
on.
a
I don't
fight-
want you in my life. I want you in
And
my
Ms.
daughter's
Bowl,
life.
you're in a relationship with Mr. Tolliver?
Yes, I am.
And how do you deal with all this?
I mean, if it's not his daughter, so that's fine. But if it is his daughter, I'm gonna act, be like a stepmom, I guess you could say. I'll take care of her, I'll make her happy, like it's my child.
Drum roll, please. The results confirm Mr. Tolliver is indeed Novella's father. The courtroom erupts in a mix of applause and sighs of relief. This bombshell has everyone reeling, and now the real work begins. Watch as they navigate the new family dynamics.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. When it comes to 2-year-old Novella Allen, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Tolliver, you are her father.
Okay.
The episode kicks off with some serious courtroom vibes. The court is called to order, and the players in the drama, the case of Hoyer vs. Porter, Horn, and Gentry, are introduced. Grab your popcorn, because this is just the beginning of the courtroom drama.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Hoyer versus Porter, Horn, and Gentry.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Hoyer, after 14 years of being in foster care, you desperately searched for your father.
Mr. Hoyer sets the stage with a heartbreaking backstory. He talks about his rough journey growing up in foster care and the bittersweet end to his search for his father, who turned out to be deceased. Strap in. This roller coaster of emotions is just starting to climb.
That your alleged father, Mr. James Horn, was tragically killed. To make matters worse, you claim his family rejected you, and so you're here today to prove to them that you are indeed his son and finally have a family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Porter and her mother, Miss Horn, are up next, and they're not buying what Mr. Hoyer is selling. They staunchly believe that Mr. Hoyer is not part of their family based on Mr. Horn's insistence that he had no children. The plot thickens. Stay tuned, because the family drama is about to dial up.
You and your mother, Ms. Horn, who's joining us from her hometown, are adamant that Mr. Hoyer is not biologically part of your family. You claim that before Mr. Horn passed away, he clearly stated that he had no children, and you believe today's DNA results will prove him right.
Here comes Miss Gentry, Mr. Hoyer's mom, hoping to mend fences and uncover truths today, although she's not even sure who the father is. It's a messy situation, and everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats. Things are about to get real juicy.
Ms. Gentry, you are Mr. Hoyer's mother. You say you're hoping to build a better relationship with him today by truthfully answering the court's questions in an effort to determine the truth. You admit you are unsure who fathered your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hoyer recounts the pivotal moment he discovered Mr. James Horn might be his dad. Imagine finding out such life-changing news on your birthday. Talk about a birthday surprise. But wait, there's more. Let's see how his first encounter with his potential uncle went down.
Which stopped me right there in my tracks. I was like, wait, you know my father? He was like, yeah, your father is James Horn.
And this was the first person that had looked at you and said you look just like him.
Yes, Your Honor, and I actually have a photo here.
Jerome, may I see that, please? So this is a photo of the man you were told is your father. When you look at this picture, do you see yourself?
I do in some ways. I see myself through the smile and through the forehead and the eyebrows.
Drama ensues as Mr. Hoyer meets his supposed uncle for the first time. There's talk of hand similarities, but skepticism from others in the room casts doubt. Fasten your seatbelts, because we're diving deeper into this family mystery.
My older brother lives next door, my alleged father's brother. And he went over and asked my alleged uncle about the name, James Horn, and he was like, yes, that's my brother. My adopted brother came and got me, took me over to his neighbors, and that's how I met him.
Secrets come spilling out as Miss Gentry explains her hidden relationship with Mr. Horn, kept under wraps due to racial prejudices. The secret's out now, and the courtroom's buzzing. Hold on, because the family's reaction is just around the corner.
It was a secret. I didn't even know I was really pregnant until I was 6 months. But like I have told my son, there is another man before this man.
So what you're saying is you were open and honest with your son that you had also been intimate with another man before Mr. Horn?
Yes.
The gloves come off as Miss Gentry and Miss Porter clash over past accusations and the legitimacy of Mr. Hoyer's paternity. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. You won't want to miss what happens next as old wounds are reopened.
When you had your son, was Mr. Horn there? Was he involved with your son?
Yes, I seen my son one time. I left out of the relationship because I had all this controversy with my family.
Well, because when he was born, the secret was out at that point, right?
Yeah, and when I found out he was dead, it devastated me, you know? I mean, devastated me because I loved him so much.
No, she's not telling the truth. When the first time we ever seen her was 2 weeks.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any more heated, emotions boil over. The family confronts each other with accusations flying left and right. Stay tuned. The DNA results are coming up and they're going to drop a bombshell.
4 years
all
old.
I said is your father is dead. That's all I said, and I left it at that.
And then he went to the store to get him some milk and some Pampers, and he got killed. That was a lie too.
Take a lie detector test.
After 23 years, we don't know nothing about this young man. It's a whole lot you need to take.
The way you treated me, you think I'm gonna come back to
but
treat
it's getting
me?
off my chest.
And my baby, you threw us out of the house? Oh, where you coming back to that?
Yes.
The court takes a closer look at childhood photos of Mr. Hoyer and Mr. Horn to hunt for any family resemblance. Some see it, some don't. Either way, we're inching closer to the truth. Don't go anywhere. The DNA results are about to turn everything upside down.
And a young picture of Mr. Horn. You see a resemblance?
Not really. Not in that one.
Do you see yourself at all?
I can see myself in the smile.
And then the second set of photos are these photos.
Now right there, that's when we noticed it. Yes, yes.
And how about you, sir, where you see your face?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's the moment of truth, and the results are in.
The DNA test results have determined that Mr. Horn is not likely your biological father.
The judge kicks things off with a formal yet is somewhat relaxed vibe. You may be seated, she says, adding a touch of officialdom to the room. Hello, Your Honor, comes a reply, followed by a friendly, hello, Jerome. This casual greeting sets a surprisingly laid-back tone for the courtroom drama about to unfold.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, Jerome.
This is the case of Lindsay versus Word and Jones.
Thank you so much. Good day, everyone. Miss Lindsay, you say you're sick and tired of two men whom you believe are using your grandson as an excuse to walk in and out of your daughter's life.
Miss Lindsay, you say you're sick and tired of two men? The judge begins, diving straight into the drama. Miss Lindsay nods emphatically, accusing the men of using her grandson as a revolving door excuse to waltz in and out of her daughter's life. The audience gasps, sensing the soap opera level revelations just getting started.
Now you're here today along with your daughter Crystal to learn which of them fathered Austin. Now Mr. Word, you claim you want to be in Austin's life, but you say you're unsure biological father.
Yes.
You argue these doubts came directly from Crystal when she told you there is a second possible father.
Enter Mr. Jones, the other possible dad, appearing via video link from his hometown. Now Mr. Jones has been tested as well, the judge announces, setting the stage for more paternity puzzle pieces. Everyone in the courtroom leans in, ready for the virtual face-off.
Now Mr. Jones, Austin's other possible father, has been tested as well, and he will be joining us from his hometown. Ms. Lindsay, let me start with you. Why do you think Mr. Word is taking advantage of your daughter?
Why do you think Mr. Word is taking advantage of your daughter? The judge probes further. Miss Lindsay launches into a tale of deceit, revealing Mr. Word met her daughter while still married, which Mr. Word hastily denies. Then they got a divorce, she continues, painting a picture of a man who can't seem to decide if he's in or out of relationships.
He was married.
Your Honor,
Then they got a divorce.
That's not true. I was divorced in 2008.
Then they got a
Me and her
divorce.
met 2 or 3 years after that.
and then he was trying to still talk to my daughter.
So you felt like he was lying, he wasn't being genuine to your daughter?
Correct.
Mr. Word takes the floor with a dramatic flair, claiming he noticed changes in Crystal's body and knew she was pregnant. I love her. I still love her to this day, he declares, professing his undying affection and commitment to change his party boy ways. The audience claps, sucked into the telenovela unfolding before them.
The time she found out she was pregnant.
No,
yeah,
no, she
yeah,
wasn't.
because you
She
took her
was.
to, yeah, you took her to the clinic. I didn't even get to go to the clinic
Your Honor,
with her.
No, we might have been in a relationship at the time, but she was not there when I realized she was pregnant. She came to my house, came to my room. When she laid down, of course, I know her body. I love her. I still love her to this day.
Crystal speaks up, her voice a mix of frustration and resignation as she details the rocky road with Mr. Word. Because we were having conflict and we were arguing and we were back and forth, she explains, painting a picture of a love story with more bumps than a gravel road. The courtroom murmurs, hooked on every word.
You also had sex with another guy?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, tell me what the circumstances were that would cause you to do that if you were in a relationship.
Having conflict, and we was arguing, and we was back and forth the whole 3 years that we was together.
He was not taking care of her.
Actually,
I would have
Your
to take
Honor,
food down to her.
times I didn't have money and I couldn't buy the things that she wanted.
When he would in her shoes and told her, "You're not going nowhere. You're gonna be here when I get back."
The spotlight swings back to Mr. Word, who's trying to paint himself in a better light, only manages to reveal the spottiness of his support. Sometimes I didn't have money, he admits, adding a twist to his narrative of noble intentions. The plot thickens, and the audience is itching to hear more about this financial roller coaster.
Mr. Word, let me ask you this, because you seem like once you found out she was pregnant, you said you would be there.
Didn't have him. We planned to.
yes,
I was on birth control. I got off of birth control because we both agreed that we wanted to have a kid together and we wanted to start a family together.
That's true.
All right, when did you find out that there could be someone else?
After the baby was born.
Why did he
Your
go
Honor.
and sign the damn birth certificate?
Did you still bond with Austin? The judge asks, digging into the emotional aspects of Mr. Word's paternity doubts. I tried my best to, he responds, hinting at a heart perhaps not fully in the game. This half-hearted confession paves the way for even more courtroom drama.
How many times have you seen him since he's been born?
At least 30. But that's not my fault that it's so less.
So does he come see Austin regularly?
Now,
No.
Your Honor, he does not.
He has, in the 2 years he's been born, he has only given $30 for his Halloween costume last year.
All right, let's cut to the chase. It's been almost 2 years since this child has been on this earth. Do you think part of the reason why you have not been as involved is because your doubt working in the back of your mind?
I'm telling you, it's because of her.
Mr. Jones finally gets his turn, explaining his ghosting during Crystal's pregnancy as a series of missed connections and miscommunications. We didn't have no contact with each other the whole time I was pregnant, Crystal confirms, adding layers to the mystery of who was really there for her. The audience leans forward, eager for the next twist.
Why have you not provided at all? Were you there through the pregnancy? When you found out she was pregnant, were you there?
I wasn't in touch with Crystal none through the pregnancy, and that was none of my fault at all. When she finally even had the baby, I didn't know no hospital or nothing. All I knew is she had a
Oh, Your Honor.
No, he said
knew she was pregnant,
but through
never
the pregnancy,
tried to hide.
through the pregnancy, he didn't know. We didn't have no contact with each other the whole time I was pregnant.
Correct.
The family feud intensifies as Miss Lindsay recounts how both potential fathers have let Crystal down repeatedly. These men walking over her, it's not right, she laments, her frustration palpable. The courtroom nods in agreement, everyone now fully invested in the family's tangled web.
Stuff like that. And
When
put
you
stuff
take
in my
somebody's
hand.
paycheck and you don't have even them a pack of cigarettes, what would you call that? So I'm just putting the truth out there because I'm tired of these men walking over her, that he takes her coat and her shoes and leaves her. It's not right that he takes her money and leaves her with no food. And now it's all about my grandson, because when these two dog her, who is gonna have to come pick up that little boy?
And now for the moment of truth, the judge announces, ready to reveal the results of the DNA test.
Is the father of 1-year-old Austin. Mr. Word, you are the father.